Hello, 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 and hello. It is Thursday, November 12th, 2020, and this is the midweek live stream that I do. I do one on Monday nights at 7 p.m., and I do one on Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, United States. And these live streams, they can take on a little world of their own. Sometimes we talk about cars. Well, we primarily talk about cars, but we can also talk about could be movies, could be anything related to cars, could be questions about doing repairs to cars, could be paint questions, bodywork questions, all kinds of different things. And we try to keep this rolling at least for an hour on Thursdays. Typically, the Monday night at 7 runs 2 hours, but it ran over last week. Now, I want to point out this is, it's an open subject matter. There is no specific thing that I want to talk about or will talk about unless I identify it at some point. And the idea is, again, we have people come on, ask questions, and have people within the chat session answer questions as well. If I don't have an answer, and a lot of times I don't, we get input from other people and they help out with answering questions, because there's a lot of knowledge out here in space in YouTube land. There are people that watch the videos. There are people that watch a variety of other channels, and they may get some input from them and have some ideas. So this effort here has been growing. A few weeks ago, I was just putting on a basic title for this live stream. I would put the date and really wouldn't do much of a description, because the bulk of the people who follow my channel already know that I'm doing these live streams. Well, I started changing that, I don't know, 4 or 5 sessions ago, where I gave a better description of what the subject matter was and, what we're trying to do. Now, with that said, the viewership has taken off in reality. I would have on Monday nights 60, 65 people, through a rotation of people checking in and out. And then on Thursdays, I would average around 30, 35. Well, this past Monday, we had 225 people on the stream. And a lot of those, I think, just picked up from other live streams that had ended. I think YouTube promotes live streams that if one ends, they say, you might look at this one as well and see what it's about. So we had people from all over the country, all over the world, come in on that live stream. And that live stream has had the most views of any live stream that I've done. And it was over 4,200, which is pretty good for one of my live streams. Typically, I would see a really good one might have 1,500, something like that. So anyway, in that effort, I'm going to keep on trying to improve these and make things go better and smoother. As it is right now, I see I have 22 viewers on here, and I'm going to go through the list of who is here. And if I can remember or they announce where they're from, I will announce that as well. So I know Greg Workshop is here from Australia. Hi, Greg. Glad you're here. Randy Owl. I hope that's right. Owl. Randy Owl is here. Crash Rider is here from Southern Indiana. It's Just Me is here. Nandu is here. David and Cheryl. I don't know if it's David and Cheryl or if it's just Cheryl, but David and Cheryl are here. Jorge is here from New Jersey. Guido is here from Southern California. Glad you're here. Jack W. is here from New Jersey. Jerry is here from Middle Tennessee. Bad Harry is here, or Bad Harry's is here from Canada. And Guido, we'll not get into that. We'll not get into that. So, yes, and RC Guy Garage is here. And, I want to point out, Tim, I liked your latest little follow-up video that you did where you were pointing at things. You did a good job with that today, pointing at your Camaro and various other projects that you're working on. So thumbs up for that. But thumbs up as well. Thank you for the thumbs up, Tim. So if you haven't seen RC Guy Garage, his channel does mostly right now it's RC stuff, but he does have a variety of other things on there. So if you get a chance, go check out his channel. And if you like RC stuff, he does a lot of thrashing on these things and has a lot of them, a lot more than me. I have like one good one, but he has all kinds of these things. So that's pretty cool. 67 C10 guy, sup from Indiana. Glad you're here. And Brendan's Garage. Sorry. Good morning, Barry from New Zealand. 67 guy is also Tim. All right. Glad you're here, Tim and Tim and Tim. I know that Brendan has offered, he offered earlier, and I'm hoping that he is still interested in doing joining the live stream with us from New Zealand to talk about his Mustang project that he just picked up. Let's see. Warren Witten, hi Barry, not in Phoenix today, back in Atlanta. Well, I'm glad you're here. And all right, so let me do this. I'm going to see if I can find an email from Brendan where I can send him an invite, because I know there he is. I can send it to him. And like I said, if he wants to get on the stream, he's more than welcome. And we can talk about his Mustang that he just picked up. So I watched a couple of videos on that. It's going to be a good project for him. I know he's excited, and I'm hoping for good results from his efforts in the project. Let's see. Nick Mass just got off a crane inspection, taking coffee break at work. Entertain me, dang it. All right. Anyway, let's see. Oh, David and Cheryl, we are both here checking in before I head off to work. Big thumbs up. Hi, Brendan, is what David and Cheryl say. Good. I'm glad you're both here. This has been a pretty good week, pretty good couple weeks, taking care of these fenders that you see behind me. The repair process, I've done a variety of videos on this. And as I've said before, and I've changed the format of how I'm doing my videos. Instead of making a really extensive hour-long video with tons and tons and tons and tons of information, I'm making shorter videos now. So I'm trying to go 20 minutes, 25 minutes, somewhere in that range. And in that effort, if people watch those videos more than 15 minutes, whatever, YouTube helps promote those videos and get more views. So it's kind of, a snowball effect. Once they start getting watched and getting watched for a good period of time, then YouTube promotes those videos. So I did the comparison video on those two, on the fenders. I did 3 repairs. I guess it was 3 repairs. Yeah. 3 repair videos on that passenger side fender. I have one more video that is queued up. I don't know if it'll be released tonight or tomorrow. And we will, I'm addressing the antenna hole, plus a couple other things that I'm taking care of with that fender. So I think it's going to be a good video, and I hope you all look forward to that. I know that, let me see here. Earl is asking, hi Barry, Jade fender looking good. When is the next video on priming? That'll be following the last weld repair video that I did on the antenna hole. So that'll come pretty soon, but that is coming. Let's see. John, how's your head doing? I guess it's okay. I guess it's okay. You're talking about my little crash. I had my dune buggy. It's all good. It's all good. Other than a little bit of bleeding, I was actually fine the next day anyway. So at least I think I'm still good. I hope. 67, Tim. I have a 64.5 Mustang, but no money to fix it. That is a very common issue. Okay. It may be too bad to fix. Well, we got to be careful with how we say that, because, I took a pair of door hinges and built a Mustang. So it's all in how much you want to really put into it. But pieces and parts, add up pretty quick. Jerry's Garage, new exhaust on the 66 Mustang. The exhaust sounds awesome. Good. RJ is checking in. John says, excellent. Yes. Earl Smithson, thumbs up. Thank you, Earl. Okay. I've talked about a variety of things. I'm wondering, where's Jeff? Jeff is usually showing up from the UK. Maybe he's just listening in and not, what is it? Barking, Essex, UK. Okay. He's not here yet. but maybe he's just listening. I know he usually drives to work or to his wife's work and picks up her from the hospital and then brings her home and cooks her dinner. So we'll have to wait see if Jeff shows up. Rick Stevenson, glad you're here. I have not gotten to the mailbox yet, so I'm going to either check it today or tomorrow and check on that license plate. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I've talked about a variety of subject matters. 67 guy. I've owned it since I was 12, now 41, and it was rusted out when I bought it, but now more parts are available. Yes, there are more parts available. Unfortunately, they'll need a lot of rework, but they are available. Let's see. Okay, Dave and Cheryl have a 64 and a half. Their labor is free. Yep, good point. Good point. One of the things that I've talked about in the past is my little Hot Wheels cars. We've all had them. We all have memories of playing with these when we were kids. I'm still buying these things. I buy them for myself and I buy them for my grandson. And, I've given some of these away and different things, but I wanted to show you something. And I think I've shown this before, but I want to show it again because I saw it sitting on my office, my desk in my office in the house. And I'm pretty sure I've shown this, but this is something I think is so cool. There's a guy that I follow on Instagram, and I won't go say his whole name, but it says Tattoo Bearded something. I'm not going to say it because I don't want to say it, but it's Tattoo Bearded, starts with an A, ends with hole. Anyway, he does paint and work somewhere. I don't know where, but I follow him. And he also does stuff with Hot Wheels. And he had offered or shown some little Hot Wheels that he had modified. Apparently he takes them apart. He can paint them and do different things with them. Now, the reason I bring this up, I have or had, and I mentioned it before, a dirt track race car that I raced back in the early 90s. And I don't think I have a picture on I don't think I have a picture. No, I don't have a picture available. But I have a picture that I took from a picture that I have in the house. And I've said it before. It was a 65 Chevelle that I raced dirt track. Okay. And it kind of a paint scheme that me and Roger had come up with. And Roger, my neighbor, had helped me with, detailing it and keeping up with it and running all, doing those sort of things. Well, I talked to this guy, Tattoo Bearded and I said, "Hey, can you make a matchbox of my my race car?" And he said, "Send me some pictures and we'll see what we can do." Well, I did. Now, I will say this is the most expensive Matchbox or Hot Wheels car that I have because I spent $50 to have this made. But let me tell you, now I had this made a while ago, but it's been sitting on my desk in the office. This thing is so cool. He did such a good job copying the likeness of my stock car. Down to the red wheels, I had the air cleaner sticking through the hood. He put a window net in the driver's side window. He painted the interior all silver, and he even changed out the wheels and put big, wide tires and wheels on this thing. So I'm just going to give him a shout out to that. And even the nose, it matches pretty much the same car that I had. I think I may have had a grill guard or a radiator guard, brush, roll bar type thing up front. But I just think this thing is so cool. When you see these made, and this is all hand done. I mean, and the truth is, here's a little. It's really hard to show on this, but the little numbers on the car, when they were on my car, we did it out of vinyl, like vinyl for the like you do contact paper, in your kitchen, you do your cabinets. So this was vinyl that I had bought a roll of, and it was actually cow print, like Holstein cow, where it's white with black specks in it, just being goofy. He replicated that. I know it's really gonna be hard to see that, but he replicated that. So this little car, I'm just always impressed when I see it sitting on the desk, and I just thought I'd share that, just because we talked about Hot Wheels before. And anyway, so here we go. We have Damon. I'm guessing Soto. Have you ever done, or will you be doing any 72 or 73 Mustangs? I haven't done anything with them, at least not on my channel. Years ago at the body shop, we did do work on a 70. It was either 72 or 73 convertible. We added stripes to it, did some detail work, added some stripes, and I think some other repair work. But I have not done any extensive videos to a 71 to 73 Mustang. So sorry. And I'm not saying I won't, but the opportunity just has not presented itself. So at this point, I'm going to say no. FE428 Power, good afternoon. Glad you're here. Puerto Rico 77. What's up, Barry and YouTube fam? Glad you're here. Puerto Rico. Let's see. Truck One LT. Hey, Barry. Late to the show. I was trying to mock up my firewall. Okay. Well, that's a good excuse. That's a good excuse. Brendan, hi. I have a Hot Wheels collection. We'll briefly show it when I come on live soon. Okay. Yeah, I saw your video you did on those Mustang, or your Hot Wheels that you have. They're pretty cool cars. Pretty cool. You know, I'm always looking for more and odd stuff too. Like, now this is covered in dirt or covered in dust, but it's okay. This is an oddball, because let me know if you ever see one of these in the large version where they make it like, you know, I have a Camaro one, Muscle Machines, you know, the big scale, whatever they are. I can't reach it right now, but this is a 53 Studebaker done up in the Muscle Machines style. So it's got the blower sticking out of the hood, you know, big fat tires under it. I think this is so cool. This is so cool. I've never seen, you know, a large scale one, but I'd be happy to have one if somebody finds one. I'd be happy. Put it on my bench with all my other stuff that's covered in dust. Puerto Rico, I have done a couple of Hot Wheels cars myself. Well, that's cool. You know, I've looked at the idea. I've had cars in my life that, you know, I had a 72 Chevy 4x4 that I've mentioned before. In fact, I'll show you a picture of it. So I had this 72 Chevy 4x4 that I wouldn't mind replicating in a model kit. I think it would look pretty cool. That picture is from probably 87, 88, 89, somewhere in that range, with me and my grandmother. But I wouldn't mind replicating that truck in a model kit if I could do it. But the hard part for me is I'm so into full scale cars that it's hard for me to sit down and stop and try to play around with a model kit. So anyway, Travis, hey Barry, glad you're here. I think you had commented on, you'd left me an email before recently, didn't you? I believe you did, Travis. Yeah, about the headliner. Yep. Okay. And Guido, Barry, your circle track car, what setup were you running, engine and trans? I ran a 350 small block Chevy that was sort of tricked out. It was a very good engine that I started with. It was a high nickel content. It didn't have any core shift. It was dead center, so I was able to manipulate it somewhat and take the do a few tricks to it. Like, I had a friend who was into building race engines, and so we balanced everything. Balanced the rods, the pistons. Did a bunch of porting internally for that engine for oil passages and that sort of thing. And then we put, I'll say a junky set of heads on it to start with. And I had it decked to where it was pretty high, I would say pretty high compression. And In fact, the head gaskets were the shims. They weren't even like the regular gaskets. They were shims. And so that thing was, buttoned down tight. Had a, I'm trying to remember what the cam was. It was a circle track cam, I think. I don't remember the specs on the cam, but that thing would rev. Oh my goodness. It had so much power. And what else did I do to it? Tuned up the distributor, took the weights out of the distributor. Oh gosh, double roller timing chain, and I don't remember what else. But that thing would scream. Yeah. In fact, that engine, I raced it for 2 seasons, and then it sat for a number of years, and then it went into my 55 Chevy, which I traded. So I wanted to keep that engine, but the guy really wanted that engine because he knew what was in it, and so he still has it with that engine in it. But I wouldn't mind. I would trade. I've got this 383 stroker engine sitting over here that I would trade for that 350. That's how much I like that engine. 67 guy, nice truck. Thank you. Appreciate that. Bad Harry, which primer or metal treatment do you recommend using for starting from bare metal on the underside of roof? Should have just been wire wheeled down versus doing the outside of the roof. Well, there's that's kind of a tricky question. As far as using a primer, there's a product that I've been using that I just sprayed on both of these fenders. It's a Harbor Freight product. It's generic in name. I think Iron Armor is a company, but they have a rust converter, and basically you spray it on, and it turns the metal black. And then from what they say is you can go right on top of that with a regular primer. So from that aspect, I would probably try something along those lines. Otherwise, you're looking at navel jelly or some sort of acidic product like even a vinegar mix to try to eliminate as much rust as you can. I do like that rust converter because it feels like once I get everything brushed off good and I spray it on, I can see it change, to black, and then you can, again, top coat it with the other primers. So hope that helps. 67. I have a Hot Wheels that looks similar to that truck. Yeah. Yes. Headliner. Yes. Yeah. We were talking, you'd emailed me some pictures of that. Did a good job on that. Let's see. Puerto Rico, I believe they have that pickup on eBay. Not sure about the year. Okay. I'd have to check into that. Truck 1LT, trying to fit a firewall with a cowl and the floor pan's already in place is a royal pain. And you know what? I wish I'd installed it before I installed the cowl. Yes. Yeah, you're behind the curve now if you got the if you're trying to get the firewall in and the floor pan's already in, because ideally the firewall is supposed to sit underneath the floor pan so that you don't catch water on the front edge. I made that mistake, sort of a mistake. I almost couldn't do it any other way when I built that light blue Mustang, because that car was in such bad shape that I had to get the pan in it to keep the rest of it from falling apart. So I did all that, and then when I went to put the firewall in, I could not rotate it, because of the frame rails. You can't rotate it underneath that pan. So I ended up putting it on top. But, if you have to do that, just make sure you dolly up the edge on the front and add seam sealer. Make sure that, the water isn't going to catch, assuming, you're going to go out and drive this in the worst weather in the world, which most people will never drive these cars in bad weather ever again. Some do. What's your opinion on 68 S-Code coupes? Okay. Now this is where I get a little out of sync, because let me just do this. Because I don't dedicate myself to keeping up with what code, what letter. So apparently a 68 390, it was a 390 S code. So it's a 390. Okay. Yeah. So what's my opinion on an S code coupe? I don't know. I don't know what you really mean, but I mean, anything that's got a 390 in it can have some power, some giddy up. According to this, what I'm seeing, just quickly pull it up. It says this Mustang GT was ordered with the optional S code with a 4-barrel carburetor. Essentially came with 325 horse and 427 foot-pounds of torque. So that's just talking about one particular car. I'd build it. I mean, I don't know if you're looking at buying one or building one or what exactly, but cool car. Cool car. Let's see. Truck one, I figured the cowl would help support the front end when I cut out the old firewall out. Yeah, well, it will. I mean, it did, I'm sure. I know when I cut out all the sheet metal on that light blue Mustang, things moved. And that's where I kind of said, oh, no. I got to get this floor under here to keep it in place, and it's a trade-off. Had I known about it, I would have probably approached it a little bit differently. I may have put the firewall into the floor pan before I slid it up into place. If I had just done that, I would have been able to manipulate it and get it where it needed to be. So that was a learning thing for me. I didn't realize that until after I'd done it. Puerto Rico is copper tubing, I guess, tubing, not tuning, good to use for gas line. I mean, it works. I mean, I don't know if there's any drawbacks to it specifically, but I know I've used steel. I've used copper in certain places where I needed some flexibility to get in, connect it with rubber hoses to get around some things. It's a little easier to manipulate than steel, but I can't think of any serious drawbacks. I mean, if it's what you have and it works, I think it'll be fine. Dave Conville checking in. Glad you're here. Mitch, love Mustangs and always wanted the one for my first car. Last time I ever saw the front end of one right down the road from my house. Found it was a 68 GT S code, and guy sold it to me for $2,000. Good deal. That's a good deal for sure. Hopefully, I don't know what that was. Hopefully, it still had the original engine and everything else in it that, makes it appealing. Something ended up in my drink, and I don't know what it was. I don't know if I want to drink that now. I don't know what that was. Anyway, let's see. Mitch, now it's a father-son project, and we're totally restoring it. Love the process. Cool. Even better. Puerto Rico. Okay, cool. Yep. Okay. I have a question for you out there in YouTube land. I've talked about this old compressor that I have over here, and I've noticed that it's struggling more and more and more with keeping up. Now, I could go buy another compressor, and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, well, wait a minute. There's nothing wrong with the tank. I replaced that motor. Well, it's been quite some time ago that I did replace the motor, but I'm thinking about buying a new compressor pump. So if anybody has used, the Harbor Freight sells one. It's a twin cylinder, and it's 5 horsepower rated to 145 PSI. So if anybody has used one of those or modified a compressor, by all means, let me know, and let me know if you think it's a good thing or not. I've done a little bit of homework on it online, and the reviews I've read were that for the most part, it's a good pump. So I'm thinking about upgrading the pump on that compressor. So any input, if you have any input, would be appreciated. Bad Harry, electrolysis where the copper touches steel is a problem. So there you go. Puerto Rico, that would be the conflict, I guess, and that makes sense. Excuse me. That makes sense. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to have any kind of steel in the area, either put something around it, maybe a piece of rubber hose to keep it from contacting the steel. And then, but ideally, I mean, if you have steel, go with steel, but it will work. Randy, Harbor Freight V is a good one. Had it for 5 years now. Never a problem. Just be sure to change oil from what I heard and done. Okay. Jerry, is a compressor oilless, i.e. reed valves? No. The compressor I have is a standard black Max, regular old compressor, but the reed ones I believe are really loud if I remember. But this thing's just kind of chugging along, and I've noticed more and more that normally I could keep a good charge of air, cycle through my air tools, but now it's like it's just running, trying to keep up with the air tool. So that's where I'm getting concerned. I may just have to go buy one of those and give it a shot. It's $165 from Harbor Freight for that V-twin deal. But I also read where there was some conflict with adapting it. You need special fittings to try to make it, make it work with your tank and whatever. Jason Snyder, any suggestions on cleaning the top of the lower cowl without removing the upper cowl? Both are in great shape, but it bothers me. I'm sure no one other than me will ever notice, but still curious. Okay, I have some suggestions for that, and it might take some creativity. But I've heard of people trying using chain and putting chain. Take a something, a rod or whatever, and fish through a piece of string, and then pull a chain through there. Now, the hard part is getting that chain to whip around inside and try to break loose any material. But I've heard of people doing that. I know I've done it with a gas tank where I put nuts and bolts inside of a gas tank and shaking it around to break stuff loose. But you may want to try a chain. You could try wire brushes if you can find some that are on extensions that you may be able to snake through that hole and just let it kind of beat around inside there. Or you could even try some cable, maybe in a drill, some semi-stiff cable, and feed it through, let the ends splay apart, and just kind of cycle it a little bit and see if you can fish it around everything. Other than that, your choices are pretty limited. Once you get that done, then I would apply some sort of rust inhibitor like Pour 15 or Chassis Saver, and try to do like I did the rocker panel, where I kind of shot some in there with a syringe and took an air hose and blew it all over the place so that it coats all over the inside. The worst areas for the cowl are around the chimneys, the little towers that come up. So, you got to try to get around those as best you can. Another thing you might do to help treat that is one of those the kits that I had from Eastwood, where I sprayed it through that nozzle. You could fish that through the vent and kind of snake it around the chimneys and spray it all inside there. So just some ideas. I don't know if anybody else has any suggestions or not. Jeff checking in. Hi Barry and all. Hope to join you after dinner of Chinese flavored chicken thighs, stir fried sweetheart cabbage, and semi polished brown rice. I don't know what that is. I just wish I could talk this dirty about old Mustangs. Okay. Jerry, you might be able to do a valve job in rings. I might. I can tell you this compressor, though, I don't know if it's worth it. In some sense, this compressor is over 30 years old. So I don't know. I like the appeal of just bolting on a new compressor and pump and being, done with it, but I don't know for sure. Jorge, Barry, check inside of your tank for rust before spending money on it. Yeah, that's a good point. M1M chimney sweep tools. So there's kind of what I was talking about with the brushes with extensions. I don't know if they sell those at like Lowe's or Harbor Freight. I don't know for sure, but that may be an option if they have something along those lines. I know they used to have the hard part is getting it inside of that little opening on the side of the cowl. That's your challenge, is getting through that little opening, because you can't go through the vents at the top, and you can't really go through the chimney because it has to come up and then come back down. So that's the hardest part for that process. Randall checking in from Colorado Springs this afternoon. Well, I'm glad you're here, Randall. Okay. Yeah, I hope that works, Jason. I know there's just some ideas to throw out there. It's not easy. In fact, I know that the cowl on Jade, I still have to do something with it. I know it's solid, but I still have to do something to treat the inside of it. I have not completed that task yet, but it's coming. And that's another thing, as I mentioned, I've worked on these fenders, and I did a repair on the driver's side fender as well, where the headlight bucket had rusted out on the passenger side. Well, as it turns out, the driver's side, and let me show you this. This was and I posted pictures of this on Facebook, but this was the patch that was on the driver's side fender. Big chunk of fiberglass covering up some big holes. This was where the hole was, right here. And they just stuck fiberglass to it. Well, that's all gone now. I went ahead and fixed that, got that squared away so it's solid now, and everything should be good on the fender. I also did a little bit of hammer and dolly work on the top of the fender where there was a couple dents, so that's taken care of. And the next, like I said, the next step will be getting the driver or passenger side fender in epoxy, and then adding some epoxy to the driver's side fender as well. So, Jorge, Tractor Supply, Ingersoll Rand, 5-horse single stage, twin cylinder, pro air compressor, 60 gallon, $7.99. Yep. Yeah, I've looked at those, and I'm still debating. Which is hard for me to look at get a good tank, good motor. Is it worth it? I don't know. I've heard pros and cons, or pluses and minuses on those as well. So, there you go. So Bad Harry is responding to Puerto Rico 77. You can use copper lines, which are softer than steel and easy to work with. Copper nickel lines. Sorry, copper nickel. I think that's what I used on my brake lines on the back of Jade. I used that copper nickel. And those were really nice to work with. Ricard checking in from Sweden. Glad you're here. Let's see. Rick Stevenson, the lower cowl of my 68 is rotten. I hope that I can get the upper off in one piece. Yeah. If you can, that would be great. And you should be able to. Just got to separate all those welds. Brendan, very okay to come on about 20 minutes? I hope so. If not sooner. I'm already 40 minutes into this, so we'll see how that goes. But if we can get you on, we'll get you on. And Wally from the North, don't forget Molly Bendham. Good call, Wally. If you remember, we had a conversation we had Wally, and he was talking about a metal, Molly Bendham, and it's molybdenum, Molly B. Denham, molybdenum. So Molly Bendham. Let's see. JJ's Garage. You know where I can find me a train to pull my scale train cars? No. Not familiar with train stuff, so can't help you there, Mason. Sorry. David Sherrill got to get going to work now. Great chat, very good to see everyone here. And don't forget to give a thumbs up. Yes, thank you, Cheryl, or David and Cheryl. Anyway, I did want to point out something else. I was doing when I was media blasting the headlight brace or bucket, whatever you want to call it, but it goes behind the extension on the passenger fender, which I cut out. And I think I mentioned that my little Harbor Freight media blaster, the light doesn't work. And I experimented. And what I did, you can laugh at this if you want, but I took one of my little Harbor Freight lights and put it in a bread bag so that it kept it clean. But you know what? It worked. A little simple fix like that Now, granted, the bag's pretty dusty, but the idea being that I just needed some light in there, and that did a wonderful job. Of course, the bag will always be crusty, but anyway. So if you need a little tip on trying to rig up a light inside of your little blaster, get one of these Boron lights, which I love these things, and put it in a bread bag, and you got protected light. So just a thought. Jorge, Molly Bendham, the word of the day. Yeah. So Jerry's Garage is saying Mason, he may have HO engine and other HO parts. So I don't know if you can. Okay, I may have an HO engine. Okay. Travis, what are your thoughts on swapping a body on a 2015 GT with a 1969 fastback metal, changing door supports, quarters, hoods, etc. when widening body by 2 inches? That sounds like a project. I've been following a guy on Facebook who that sounds exactly like what he's doing. I don't know if he widened the body or not. I think he did it by doing different mods. Instead of widening like the roof and the hood, he widened the quarters a little bit and the fenders a little bit and that sort of thing. I think it's an interesting concept. I've seen it done with a 68. I think we've all seen that video where they do a time lapse of a 68 and they put it on a 2000, whatever it was, 16, 17, 18 Mustang. And, the beauty of it is you get all the modern technology with the wonderful outside body skin. Now, there's a lot of work involved. I know that there's a lot of mods you have to make that fit. And I know that guy, I think it took him, I don't know if it was how long it took him, a year or something, for him to take that car and cut it apart and piece in all the other stuff. So I like it. I mean, I wouldn't, if I could stumble upon the right car at the right time, I would maybe consider doing something like that. But at this point, I just don't have time. But I do like the car. I do like it the way it's done. Bad Harry, I repaired my cowls without moving the top. I was replacing firewall also, so it was a lot easier. You can buy repair pieces if they're real good. Okay. So, okay, you repaired your cowl without removing the top. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, that's I've not looked at it that way, but it seems like it sounds like it worked. Marshall, hey Barry, thinking of hitting up the Mustang and the Ford show at Year One in Brazelton on Saturday from 10 to 3. I hope there's some good stuff there. Yeah. I mean, Brazelton, that's in Florida, right? Brazelton? I've not been to that, but sounds like sounds like there should be some good stuff there. Travis, all you have in life is time, unless you're old like me. Well, yeah, and time is so valuable, and we tend to forget about that. Just how valuable time is. And I know even myself, whenever I'm doing something, I can easily get distracted and wander off. And sometimes it's a good thing. I've got to step away and do other things. But everything you do takes time, no matter what it is. Everything, every single thing. Wally of the North, learning quickly that the more filler you put on, the more you need to sand off. Very true. Very true. But you have to learn when to stop. That's one thing I always emphasize. When people are block sanding, and this is the hardest thing to teach people sometimes, that people will put filler on and then they start block sanding and they don't know when to stop themselves. They'll be sanding and sanding and sanding, and they get all the way to the point where they have bare metal, and that around that bare metal, they may have a low area that actually has some texture in the putty or in the body filler. And so they keep on sanding. They think I got to get rid of that texture by just sanding and sanding and sanding. And that's not how it works. So when you're block sanding, I don't even like to hit metal. I like to sand until I see a shadow. You know, wherever that high metal is, when I see that shadow, okay, I know to stop, because you're just defeating yourself if you keep on sanding and go to all the way into bare metal. So I stop, and if I've got some like texture in the existing area around it, I'll take some like 100 grit and scuff that up real good, clean it out, and then reapply more filler. And then I'll apply over the whole area again, and then block sand until I start to see the shadow, or no shadows at all, and just keep on checking it to make sure I have good transitions. Same way with the edges. You always want to have the filler die out into the panel in such a way that it almost looks like if you see a really light cloud in the sky, and you can kind of see through it. That's kind of how that should look, like cloudy on the edge. And then I see you, Brendan, and see cloudy on the edge so that it flows all the way across. Marshall, okay, Marshall, it's up 85. It's in Georgia, up 85 in the Road Atlanta area. Okay, I'm thinking, isn't there a Brazelton, Florida though? I'm thinking, must be. Jorge, swapping the body on a 2015 GT. Yeah, that would be great. That would be fantastic to do that. Wally of the North, yes, too late when metal shows, yes. M1M, hey Barry, without being political, what do you think of this up and coming Mach 2, the new electric Ford? I'm a gas and gearhead guy, but like the way it looks. Oh, okay. I haven't really looked at it. I'm not against electric vehicles. I'm really not. I'd even consider converting a Mustang to an electric if I had the enough knowledge of how to do it. I would probably consider doing that, but I haven't really looked at the new stuff to give you a really good opinion on it. So, but I'm not against the electric stuff, except for that whatever SUV Mustang they built. I'm totally against that thing. Okay, Josh Castanway, hi, glad you're here. Guido, my car is complete. I don't know what else to discuss. I want to redo my garage, epoxy floors. Is a good brand. Is it worth it or have it done? So there's a question from Guido if anybody has any input on taking care of the floor in his shop. G Mars, hi, for small areas, what sanding blocks do you use? For almost everything, I use my Durablocks. Durablock brand. And they sell these in a variety of sizes. So even small areas, I'll use the Durablocks. Seem to work out really well for me. Bad Harry, your video of sanding a roof showed exactly what you explained about the fading. Yes. Yeah, it should look like I said, it look like clouds. And as the way I look at it, that transition should look like just a foggy kind of fade out into the panels. So, all right, we're going to bring Brendan on from New Zealand. Hey, Brendan.
How you going?
Glad you're here. How's it going?
Good, thank you. Very good.
Good. So you finally got everything.
There she is.
And
got one.
Now I know it's a V8 car, correct?
Yes, it is. Yeah, factory 289.
Okay. And what other options does it have?
It's got power disc brakes, power steering, and aircon.
Okay. So it's a well-optioned car then.
It's a California car. It's a San Jose build. And I've decoded it all. So it's got a 2.79 to 1 diff. It was diamond blue with the blue vinyl interior, and did have a vinyl roof at some stage.
Okay. Now, are you going to put the vinyl roof back on or not?
We'll make that decision when we get closer to when it's painted and stuff like that, which it'll be a wee while away yet. So
okay, well, just so you know, my vote is no.
That's probably why the roof pillars went rusty on it.
Well, the reality is, if they had put primer and paint and then applied, the glue and put the vinyl top on, it probably would have been fine.
Yeah.
But I do like the vinyl roof on certain models and certain, the way they look. Jade is supposed to have a vinyl roof, but I'm not putting it on. I want to keep it smooth. So
yeah,
just my opinion.
So we're not going to do anything fancy with the car. We'll probably just lower it, put some wheels on it, and give it a nice coat of paint. But yeah, she needs a bit of love before we get it to that stage. So we've got to get through the bodywork first. And to get it registered, we've got the correct paperwork, because in New Zealand it has to have, to get it on the road here, we need a paper trail of ownership and also the original title from the USA, which we have.
Very good.
So it can't be a photocopy, but replica of it. It has to be the real deal, which it is, which is good.
Okay. Now, if I remember, you said in your video you have new quarters for it. Came with it.
Yes, the car came with a complete Dynacorn floor pan. So it goes from the front seam where the firewall joins the floor right to the seam under the back seat, and it's the whole floor.
Good.
But also came with both inner and outer sills. They're a one-piece unit, which I think are Dynacorn as well. I've just brought 2 rear guard quarters off our local website, Trade Me, $200 for both sides. It come with another roof skin, which is off a second-hand car, but it's absolutely immaculate. And in the US, it had floor pans put in, but not a very nice job. So hence why I'll just do a complete floor pan just to make it look really, really tidy.
Sure.
So as you know, Barry, over here, they're pretty hard to get unless you want to spend $50,000 to buy, how would you put it, someone else's problem. Whereas this one here, we've wanted one for a long time. We're not selling it. We're building it. It doesn't matter what it costs to build, because it's our car.
Okay.
It's our car. Yeah. So it's pretty surreal when you open the garage and you see the tail lights, and it's like, oh, it's in our garage. We've got one.
Yeah. And along with that, you have that other car, that Ford behind you, right?
Yes. It's a 1950 Ford Prefect.
Prefect.
Ford Prefect. Yeah, it's an English vehicle.
Okay.
And that runs a side valve 4-cylinder.
Interesting. And what are the plans for that?
Just drive it. Just drive it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks in great shape.
It's not bad for a 70-year-old car. We just intend on using it as our weekend hobby car while we build the Mustang.
Very good. Very good. So I know, like I said, you got a variety of things to do on the Mustang. When do you start?
Well, over here, since when it went through our border, it got a damage flag and got put into the system that it had previous rust repairs in the floor, and it had rust issues in the roof pillars. So that gets logged into a system, which means I have to get a vehicle repairer certifier to check the car first, and he tells me exactly what I need to do. Then I can go ahead and start repairing it. I can't just go ahead and repair it, paint it, and have it looking $1 million, because what they will then do is notice that it's had a lot of repairs and make me sandblast the whole vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can't start on it until he's inspected it and he gives me the paperwork to say, right, you need to do this.
Okay, so it's a step by step type of thing.
It is, yes, it is. And also, for me to repair it at home myself, I need to update my welding ticket. I have to have a current welding ticket. Yes, I do. Yep. Otherwise, I can't do this car.
Oh man.
So that's our process. So
yeah. I don't know if I can handle that.
Yeah, getting cars on the road over here can be tricky.
Yeah. Yeah, here, in the States, I could take the doors off my car, the hood off, as long as I have some lights on it. I could just
Yep,
drive it. They wouldn't even
yep.
care.
So
That's pretty cool.
I'm hoping to have. I'll take the car into work one day, hopefully before Christmas, and have him inspect the car, and then that's when we'll find out he might want the whole car sandblasted before we even start on it, which isn't a bad thing because then it will be a nice car when it's finished.
Right. So you can't even do. I mean, you can't do anything to it yet.
Not really, no.
I mean, you could probably pull trim off or something like that.
Yes, yeah. But I
Okay.
physically can't start doing any welding or cutting off panels until he's inspected the vehicle and given me the go ahead to do it.
Now, what about like the engine and transmission? Can you work on that?
I can do anything like that. I can restore the suspension. I can do the engine. I can do the trans. I can do the diff, brakes, everything. But just the rust repairs I can't do
Okay.
until it's sorted.
Well,
Yeah.
at least that's a good thing. That you're not restricted that much. That you can still do some
No,
of that stuff.
like I said, I can go ahead and repair the whole vehicle, but when it comes to register or getting it inspected by a compliance service to get it through to be legal, it would become a nightmare.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, we don't have any kind of restrictions like that here in the States.
Yeah. Even if we brought a really, really tidy one in from the US and it had floor pans put in it, and that gets picked up at the inspection, we'd have to do the same thing again. They would ask for the floors to be sandblasted so they can inspect all the welds and everything, and then you go from there.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. I have a couple of questions coming in. Let me see here. Oh, Jorge is asking. Hi, Brendan. Is the steering wheel on the right or the left?
It's g'day Jorge. It's left-hand drive. It's an American car. Yes.
Yep. So there you go. And then M1 is asking, Brendan, are you allowed to buy cars from America? Which you can,
Yes, we can buy cars from anywhere in the world,
but they have
but
to be accepted.
all cars still have to go through this process, regardless of where they come from.
Okay. M1 is saying, I miss the accent from back when I worked for IndyCar legend Steve Horn, owner of Tasman Motorsports.
Oh yeah, that's Australian.
I guess. I don't know. I would assume. I don't know.
Oh, it could be Tasman. It could be over here as well. Could be New Zealand.
Yeah, I don't know. Marshall is saying that inspection process and welding certification seems crazy, but I would imagine New Zealand may have better cars on their roads. He's saying because of that.
Well, yes, but we also do have a lot of junk on the road as well. But a lot of them are New Zealand new cars, which don't go through that process. It's only really the imported vehicles that go through that rigorous inspection.
Oh, okay. So the higher standard is for the imports.
Yep.
Okay. Let me see here. This is a different type of question, but I'm going to answer it. RJ, do you have any suggestions for online tool shops in the U.S.? So RJ, I don't know if you're asking about what kind of tools in particular, but by default, Harbor Freight has a ton of stuff that you can buy, and I don't know if that suits your needs or not. But I don't know if that's exactly the question you're asking, but there's an answer for you. Let's see. Paul is saying I've seen guys on YouTube convert their classic Mustangs to right-hand drive.
Yep.
But I'm sure you don't plan to do that.
No. And being over 20 years old, we don't have to. If we brought in a 2001 Mustang that doesn't meet certain standards, we would have to convert that to right-hand drive.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you're leaving it the right way.
being over 20 years old, it doesn't have to meet an emission standard, and it can stay left hook.
Okay. Yeah. But you've driven other American cars, right?
Yes, I have, and it's very weird.
I'm sure it is.
You drive on the opposite side of the road, so can you imagine the steering wheel being on the same side as the footpath?
Yeah. I mean, that's, well, see, all of our postal vehicles, all our vehicles that deliver mail, they all have right-hand steering.
Yeah.
So I'm sure, those people have to deal with that. But I guess, and I never really thought about this, but obviously the shifters, if you had a right-hand drive car, period,
Yes.
your shifter is still center on the
It's still in the
console.
center of the trans tunnel. Yes, it is. Yep.
So where's the gas pedal?
Gas pedal is exactly the same. So on the right-hand drive, on our cars, it's against the driver's door. So it's in the same place. So whereas on the left-hand drive, the throttle pedal on this Mustang is by the trans tunnel.
Right.
So it's still the same. That's still the same. So no, it doesn't swap.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know if it would be like a mirror,
Yeah.
to be completely
Yeah.
opposite.
No.
But that's interesting. I would not, it'd be hard for me to imagine that it would be. I mean, it's good, so that at least everybody's using the right foot, let's say, to operate
Yes.
the gas.
Yes.
But I guess in my mind, I didn't know. I was like, well, if it doing that, what about the shifter and stuff? If you had a column shift,
the column shift on a right-hand drive, we use our left arm to change gears or pull it into drive or whatnot, depending on whether it's manual or auto.
And so the turn signal's on the right?
And the turn signal is on the right, yes. But on the left-hand drive, our indicator on the Mustang's on the left.
Correct.
But we also have a Ford Explorer, and this is where I get confused. This is quite funny. We have a 2002 Ford Explorer, which is a well-known car in America, but it's right-hand drive, but the indicator stalk is on the left. So when I get into my Ford Fairlane, which is a New Zealand car, I go to use the indicator and I end up hitting the wipers by accident because I keep thinking I'm in the Explorer and end up hitting the wipers. It's like, oh, that's right. So yeah. That's quite funny. It's quite funny.
Well, I know with me, I have my little Ford Focus that I drive, and it has a floor shifter. And so I'll jump into something else that I have, and I drive that little Focus so often that my hand goes out in space looking for that shifter. And I know that it's not there, but I'm like, oh, wait a minute, it's up here in the column, So I understand that idea. And I know a lot of cars in the US as well have a turn signal on the left, but they'll also have the wiper controls on that if it's a GM vehicle. But a lot of the Ford ones will have it on like a Honda or something. It may have a second stick on the right side for the wipers and such. So
yes,
I could see where it'd be confusing pretty quick. But otherwise, I guess I'd have to see it my mind is looking at the idea of where the gas pedal is and the linkage necessary to make that work. Because most of the linkage is on the left side of the engine. So it must have some complex linkage that makes it up to that left side.
On the Australian and New Zealand late 60s, early 70s Falcons, the V8 ones that's still on the column, they actually had a crossover linkage. So when it come down from the shifter, it actually had a bar that went under the transmission and then connected up to the C4 linkage on the other side of the transmission.
Okay. Interesting.
They were called the crossover linkage.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about the throttle?
That's only on a column shift vehicle though.
Right. But what about the gas pedal?
The gas pedal. Yep.
But I mean, it had some sort of crazy linkage that would drive it to the left side.
It had a rod that went across the firewall on two pivots with the bar that come up. Then you had your adjustable metal rod that went to your carburetor.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And then later in the mid 70s, they then went to cable.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, maybe one day if I ever make it to New Zealand, I'll have to go for an experience and drive one of those. You never know.
It won't take long to get used to, Barry.
Probably not. Especially since the gas pedal is not backwards. If the gas pedal was mixed up, that would be a different challenge.
Thankfully, it isn't.
Yes. M1 says, I learned how to weld during my restoration and from watching Barry's videos, but I was lucky to have friends who weld, inspect for me. The car is done, and so far, So far so good. 4,000 miles. Good.
Yep.
Good to have. Good to know. Jorge, I love New Zealand, but did not like driving on the wrong side of the road. It's all where you're born, right? So I know you'd mentioned, so if you wanted to show a couple of your Hot Wheels or whatever, if, that's fine with me. If not, we can continue to talk about your Mustang or anything else.
I'll give viewers a quick look at my Mustang. Like I say, it's nothing spectacular at the moment, but it was in our price range.
Yes.
Like I say, you're looking at around $50,000 New Zealand for one of these restored. Just your standard coupe, 289. None of this GT, 390 big stuff. That's all over $100,000 sort of stuff.
Right.
So I'm hoping that we could get ours on the road for about 10. So time will tell. It depends on what the repair certifier wants me to do with the vehicle. If we have to sandblast it, that'll be $1,000 and stuff like that. So that sort of stuff adds up. But we're not going to let anything like that deter us from getting this car done. It's what we've wanted, and it's going to happen regardless of what he wants me to do with it.
Yeah. If you want to show the car, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to do.
Where are you? So there she is. You can see that surface rust on the roof pillar there was obviously they've sanded back where the vinyl roof was. I do like the rear end on these. It's really nice in the rear panel. The wee quarters here, there's a little bit of rust in there, but you can buy those little corner boot patches new.
Mm-hmm. So do you know what was the manufacture date on this car?
8th of January, 68.
Okay, so early 68. Okay.
And there's some rust down in here.
Sure.
I can get one of these panels new, is it the rear below the rear window panel?
Deck filler. Yep.
Like I say, the roof doesn't matter because I've got a complete inner and outer skin for the roof.
Okay.
Doors are okay, but I've got the new outer door skins. But the inside frame has a little bit of rot that I'll have to attend to. But that's nothing major. I'll try and roll it out a bit more, so you guys can have a bit of a better look. How's that, Barry? You see that there?
Yeah, that looks good. That's good.
It's a quiet runner.
Yeah. So it has the trim in the cutout there behind the door.
That there?
Yeah.
Yep. It's a complete car. It's got the original Mustang hubcaps on it. The interior, like we won't have to. Obviously, we need to do carpet and hood lining, but the seats are immaculate.
Nice. Very good.
I don't know, can you see the dash there? You see the dash?
Yes.
Steering wheel. Yeah. It's got the original radio. It's not bad. It looks worse than what it actually is. I mean, but like I say, it was in our price bracket, and I can do all the work myself.
Sure.
If I didn't have to put it through the certification process, I would have been able to start welding up straight away.
Right.
But since they want my welding ticket, I'll have to resit that test and get that updated.
Now, you said you have a new roof inner and outer skin. Where does it come to on the body? Does it go into the quarter?
There's a seam. Must be the factory join.
Okay.
Is there a factory join just here?
Yes.
I think, yeah. So
yes.
I've got rear quarters, which come up to there, and the roof's been cut about here, just below that. so I'll be able to stitch it on and follow it through the original seam.
Very good.
The front is, I'm going to say it's mint. The chassis rails are straight. The front lower cross member below the radiator is mint. The firewall's good, but it has had the cowl tank taken out, and it's got an aftermarket Dynacorn one sitting in place that needs to be welded in.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's got the cool box. Sorry about the shaking and stuff.
No,
but,
that's fine.
It's got the awesome bonnet with the wee indicators and the hood
Yes.
scoops. Yeah, so here's the new inner and outer. It's a one-piece cowl, or is it the cowl tank that you guys call it over there?
Well, we just call it a cowl.
A cowl, yep.
Yes.
So that's been taken out and that's sitting in place. So that's basically ready to clean up and weld in.
Okay.
The motors, the cylinder heads are off it. But yeah, power brakes, power steer. So it's got the ram assist steering.
Yes. Yes.
The heater and that's been removed, so the firewall, the top cowl can be tidied up, put in properly. Does have a little bit of rust under the battery tray, but that's okay. Still has the old is it auto light sticker on the front fender in a strut there. That's pretty cool. But yeah, hey, you've got to start somewhere, don't you?
That's right.
You know, and we couldn't afford the big amount of money to pay for one that's already been done. So
sure.
And this way we get to build. Yeah, we get to build it ourselves.
And that's a great start point. Now,
so I've seen a lot worse.
Oh, I have too.
But I've seen a lot better too.
What color is it going to be?
Well, we probably want to go sort of maybe a light metallic blue, so it sort of brings the interior into it as well.
Right.
Because we don't want to have to recover those seats in a different color, because that'll just skyrocket the cost. Whereas we're saving a lot of money by having all the door panels, the tidy dash top, the tidy seats. The only thing the interior needs, Barry, is carpet and hood lining, which is readily available. And that's the beauty about this car, is we can get everything, just about everything here in New Zealand.
Okay, so you can get it there, because that was one of the questions that somebody had on here. Paul was asking, how much is the shipping from the U.S. to New Zealand, or do you have local parts vendors to buy from?
Yes, so here in Christchurch, we have an outfit called the Mustang Centre, and that's all they specialise in. And it was quite funny when he found out that I had one. He actually came down to my work and had a chat about it. So that was cool, the owner of this business. So I've asked him about rubbers and a couple of other little patch panels that I would like to get, and he's got them all. So he said, we'll be with you all the way with the process of getting this car done. So I've got a lot of people following up and willing to lend a hand wherever they can to help us get this car done.
That's very cool.
Which is really cool, because everyone knows we've been wanting one for a long time, and we finally found one local. This was in Christchurch.
Nice.
Yeah. So shipping of parts, if it's like a floor pan and that, very expensive. And then we have to pay GST on that when it arrives in New Zealand. So it can get quite expensive.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So 9 times out of 10, we're better off just buying locally, and yeah, you pay a bit more, but it's there and you get it straight away.
Sure. Yeah. Ricard says, nice car, Brendan. Keep us updated on the progress.
Yep, I'll do it. Thank you.
Jerry says, Brendan's car is much better shape than mine. I think he will do a great job. And
thank you,
Jerry. We have Karsten checking in, so glad he's here. That's pretty much it, other than M1M. I've been there a few times. My job at Tasman way back when, loved it too. long flight. So I only went a
Yep.
few times.
Yep.
So
Awesome.
I don't know how long it is a flight from the U.S. to New Zealand, but I'm sure it's a long time.
I'd hate to think.
Yeah. Bad Harry says, Brendan, looks like you have a pretty good car to start with. Good luck with your restoration. So
Thank you, Bad Harry. Thank you.
And I'll point that out, everybody. He has a video or a YouTube channel, Brendan's Garage. So if you want to follow along, make sure you subscribe and see what he's up to. I've already seen several videos you've made on this car. I think you did a video on the Prefect, and which I really like the looks of that car too. I think it's just really neat looking.
It's a very fun car to drive. As you can imagine, it's got transverse leaf springs, so it's got I-beam front and rear axle with a leaf spring like the old Model T.
Okay.
That just come. Sorry, like the 32 Ford? They just have the one leaf spring that go from side to side. It's on 16-inch 5.25 by 16 cross-ply tires, and it has cable and rod operated brakes.
Oh, it has rod operated brakes like the Model A?
Yeah, like that. Yes, it does.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, so I know that experience. That's not something you just go and drive and then decide I'm going to stop. You need to plan ahead.
You need to think about it.
Yes. Yeah, when I drive my grandfather's Model A, I'm always, my head is on a swivel, looking for cars coming and trying to slow down in time, and it can be scary.
You got to remember, Barry, back when these cars were built, everyone was more relaxed. Like speed wasn't the thing, was it?
Right.
The Prefect might do 50 mile an hour flat out. It might do it.
Well, I should race you against the Model A.
Oh, you might beat me.
I don't know. My 50 is pretty much top speed for my car.
Yeah. But I will say I don't know what happened, but I put the first Mustang video up when I brought it, which you would have seen, Barry, and maybe a few other subscribers there. And I was very, very excited because it was the day that I brought it. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden the views went crazy for a while, and I must have gained about 10 subscribers. I'm not sure what happened there, but it's awesome to have all these people following. And I follow yourself and a couple of other people on there that are building Mustangs. And it's just good to have one so I can now relate back to stuff that you've done. I spent a couple of hours the other night, Barry, going through when you were putting the floor pan. Was it back in Jade, way back at the start?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You had the back end off, you put the floor pans in, and I've just been watching all those videos because I'm about to do that. Well,
and of course, the quarter panels and tail panel, all that stuff will come into play as you move forward.
So so we're all grateful for those, Barry, because it's going to really help us get this car done.
Good.
I look forward to sharing it with you guys and my long and slow grueling process with it.
Well, it's on your schedule.
Yep. But the end result's going to be, like I say, it was our dream car. We've wanted one for a long time. I found one, and nothing's going to stop us from building this car.
Yep. Good. Well, I'm looking forward to updates. So.
And also the wee Prefect, we're keeping that. There's no point us selling that. We'll keep that as our weekend classic car. And so we can still go to car shows and car runs and stuff, and while we build the Mustang. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm probably gonna let you go.
Awesome. Thanks, Barry.
Yep. I'm glad to have you on here. And again, everybody check out Brendan's Garage and follow along with this build of this 68 Mustang.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Barry.
All right. We'll see you.
All right, Barry.
Bye.
See you guys. See ya.
Bye. Okay. So that was pretty cool. I know, as he said, he's been wanting one of these for quite some time, and now he does, and he can do it at his schedule. Of course, he's got, he has a lot of things that he has to do to get it approved, in the process, which is, unfortunate, but it's you got to follow the rules, I guess, and that's how it goes. But anyway, let's see. Paul saying Brennan's Garage has 30,000 subscribers. No, I think you're on the wrong Brennan's Garage. You have to look up his garage. Yeah, you had the wrong garage. Yeah. Yeah, Brendan's Garage has a lot less than that. But it doesn't mean he can't gain more and share information. So check him out and go from there. That's probably going to be, I'm going to end up calling this here shortly. I'm over. I only wanted to go an hour today, but I was happy to go an hour and 20 for having Brendan on and have him share his car. Let's see. M1M, as usual, Barry, your vids are getting better all the time. Thank you. Appreciate that. Currently we have 61 viewers, which is awesome. And like I said, I have things to do, so I think I'm going to move on. Travis is saying more giveaways. Well, that may come. I've thought about trying to do giveaways on the live stream, but I'm not sure how that works. They have super chats and different things, and I know other people have done it, but I haven't really researched it to see what I can do to make that happen. But maybe I will. Otherwise, I may do some simple giveaways at the end of some of my videos, and we'll see how that goes. I will point out too, I had a request from Stallion Ranch Woodworks, I believe is the name. I think it's Stallion Ranch. Let me see here. Yeah, Stallion. And he had put a request in for these t-shirts, but having the logo, having this design on the back. I really didn't think about it. So I said, okay. So I made some shirts available on Teespring that have this design on the back of the shirt. They don't have anything on the front, but it has this design on the back. So if you're looking for some of those, go to Teespring. You can order some from there. There are also some other things available on there. There's, of course, these standard shirts and Team Brooklyn Pony shirts. And there are some posters and different things like that. So if you're interested, go check them out on Teespring and, order something. Rick Stevenson throws a thumbs up at me. Thank you for that, Rick. And Karsten, I think I should have 4 weeks in quarantine, but was called into work, so did not get anything done on my car. Well, I guess work is a good thing, though, right? I guess. Okay. Other than that, I think that's the end of the subject for today. Yeah, Paul, maybe a little logo on the front and a large one on the back. That's a possibility. I'll have to talk with Andrew from Grease Rookie Garage, see if he can help me out with coming up with something. And maybe that will be the option. But at this point, I have the shirt with this on the back. So anyway, I'm still trying to get the hats taken care of. It's been a struggle. I have a friend helping me out with these, and I know he has a lot of other things going on. So still trying to work out the hat situation. But otherwise, things are good. So there will be another video coming out repairing the antenna hole on that fender, along with welding up some other holes and hammering out some dents with some high-speed hammering. Y'all love that. I know you like that. So there'll be some, good bit of that on that video. But that's going to be it. I'm going to call it a day. And, if you would throw a thumbs up on this video, leave a comment if you want. And otherwise, that's it. So until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.